begging for mercy, and I will never stop killing you. Oh shit.
Hey, Scarlet.
It's gaming, isn't it?
Yes,
No, I
it
said
is.
hi. I just said hi.
No! No! Gaming! 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 Thank you, thank you. Revive me, revive me, revive me.
What the
What? What happened?
Oh, he sniped me!
Learning disabilities, dyslexia. The President of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia. The President of the United States, Gavin Newsom,
イベント録画が行われました。イベント録画が行われ イベント録画が行われました。
Hey. You know what, guys? I've been sitting here driving this whole entire time, talking, speaking, and forgot to turn on my mic. So, anyway, I am just going to tell you, that I'm gonna basically have to restart basically what I'm talking about. Basically, what I've been talking to myself, primarily, is I've been heavily focused on, was talking about how Trump is basically taking away taking away freedom of speech. And if you don't think that he's taking away freedom of speech, well then ask me this: why is he going after the BBC, going after CBS, ABC, going after fake news, not wanting to talk to them because they're basically, he does not like them? If you do not have anything good to say about him, pretty much basically you are basically against him. He calls you fake news, he calls you fake and things like that, and it's like, why? Because he does not like you, and that's not right, okay? And to be honest, for me, like, this is probably part of the reason why I don't listen to mainstream media like CBS and Fox News, and NBC. I kind of stopped listening to it. Now, it doesn't mean I don't stop listening to mainstream media entirely. I do occasionally listen to MS Now. I will occasionally listen to not only MS Now, but I'll also occasionally listen to sometimes I'll read an article that may seem a little bit left-leaning, may seem things like that. That change a lot of the way that I've done things. I will tell you, I've listened to some of the mainstream media a long time ago. I started listening to just mainstream, listened to occasionally CNN, occasionally listen to CBS and things like that. Mainly CBS. But I've kind of slowly shifted and listened to NBC when Lester Holt was in there. No longer Lester Holt anymore, but and then I ended up listening to the Young Turks, TYT, The Damage Report, and things like that. But now I primarily and I listened to the Ring of Fire at the time too. Today I now listen to currently I will occasionally listen to the Ring of Fire on an occasion, and then and so I will occasionally just go through and listen to that. Now I listen to Midas Touch, Fair and Balanced, and I listen to Tennessee Brando, Brian Tyler Cohen, and occasionally Democracy Docket and things like that. The one that I listen to the most is Midas Touch, though, but I do, like I said, listen to some of the other ones on top of it. And so, for that. But there's this one thing that I always will tell you that I go and listen to, that that having a somewhat of having different voices and different points of view is always a good thing. Don't just go and listen to one network, because that network is going to be, oh, they're gonna have some biases. Everybody has bias. Everybody does. You have to do that with an objective and take into that consideration.
イベント録画が行われました。
And things like that. But I do want you guys to know that a lot of this stuff is related to Japan and Japan itself. The mods that I used are now in the description. I do use all of the Pride stuff. Doesn't matter. I have those there, and I have my trucking logo. For trucks that I might not be able to have, that do not have my thing, like a truck like the current red truck that I'm currently driving, of course we're gonna get those things like that, because they really just need to not utilize the yellow lights. I know that it's typical of Japan, but I think they should just really follow into the regard of utilizing just SCS's main thing. It doesn't need to be completely 100% accurate to Japan. And the only reason why I'm listening to lo-fi pop from Panda Beats is just because I wanted to have some variety, listening to something Japanese, but just because I always like Panda Beats, I like their music anyway. But it just gave me an excuse to share with you guys this. You know, Inus. And things like that. But to be honest, it's one of those things where I've kind of picked my place and listen and things where, you know, with a lot of this, you know, the Iran war, like, this is one of the things that Trump is trying to do, is basically forcing people to tell people to follow what is being done for his side of the thing, and not actually what needs to be said. And so that's kind of what Trump is trying to do with all of this, is basically force everything to be about him and whatever he says. And that's not what media should be doing. Media should basically say what they want to say, not what the president wants them to say. Now of course, if there's sometimes there might be something out there that needs to be hush hush because media can't say everything. That's because of secrecy. But that's the only thing. Okay? And that's why I don't put myself towards forcing myself to listen to a lot of these things. It's like, look, I haven't even listened to a lot of trans news lately, but I did get into some things where Idaho is now basically banning bathrooms. So it's basically going around to a lot of these red states are banning trans people, not wanting to um, not wanting to protect trans people, not wanting to basically hurt them more than anything. And you know, Kansas doing the 1,700 Kansas residents. That's a small amount for Kansas, to be honest, for Kansas itself. But they're losing their licenses, and it's not right. Nobody should be losing their right to self-identify. India is doing the exact same thing, basically, only small, narrow-minded exceptions, and it's not right. Okay, I actually had to look this up just to be verifying and making sure that it was somewhat right, because, you know, you got to do that. You can't just go and plop down and listen to a thing. You got to hear what's coming in from India's news and things, not just hear from something that you hear on the internet. Do your due diligence, double check, make sure that you look at the things that are being said. Don't just believe Fox News and say, oh, this is what's going on. Make sure you listen to the other side of the story. Listen to what they have to say as well. And you'll kind of get a judgment for what's going on. You know, don't just listen to mainstream media. Have YouTube influencers like Brian Telecone and Midas Touch and Brand Balanced and those things that I do tend to watch. And having a variety. And so don't just go out and believe that you're going to hear everything is coming from one side or the other, or that they're going to always be honest with you and telling the truth. Because sometimes there is going to be some truth to things, but then there's not always that truth either, because sometimes like you get a little bit of truth and then they topple on a lot of lies, and that's one of those things that if you listen to the SAVE Act, like the SAVE Act is basically, there's a little bit of truth in there that basically, yes, it's a voter, it's basically trying to save America in voting, but in reality, it's actually got a little bit nefarious things in it that actually change the way that things are supposed to be done. You know, for example, removing institutional ID to be able to vote. I was able to do that on my first time I ever went to vote, or signed up to vote, basically. I signed up to vote via the ID through that. To vote. I voted Republican every election until roughly about 2022. There may have been an election cycle that I did not vote for. Ugh, it's starting to become pea soup. It's hard to see. But that's kind of the thing that I did, and the SAVE Act is, yes, it may be saving America, but it's not really what it intended. Like, yeah, there are going to be a lot of people who will not be able to vote by a real ID. Because states basically now of course, if a state says States might have to update their laws for it, but they're not going to. A lot of these Republican states are going to basically say, nah, we're just going to disenfranchise a lot of people to vote. It disenfranchises Republicans just as much as it disenfranchises Democrats on a lot of these things. But disenfranchising trans people is what's being done. Okay, so we're not too far off. We will get off here shortly. Like, really? Yeah. Like, this truck is getting beat up like crazy. I don't care about the red light signal offense. I should, though. Ah, I just did it again. Again, but it's the other thing is that, guys, if I don't, yeah, so after this one, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to stop up here. Yep. I actually don't mind the design of the traffic setup that they have here. But there's a lot of things that really change a lot of my perspective and things, and understanding people a little bit better. Like, I don't judge people based on a lot of things. Like, if you're a good person, your actions are going to be better. If your actions are going to, if you're going to have doing certain things and say that you're going to do them, no, you mostly actually have to do your actions. And this is why a lot of things, why I don't listen, why I don't trust Trump, why I don't listen to everything that is being said from somebody. You know, this is why I put myself and say, okay, I'm gonna listen to you if you can show that you are willing to absolutely do what's right and say that you're going to do these things. It's like, where's our $5,000 Doge check that they said that they were going to do? Where's our $2,000 check? It's like they haven't given us that, and if that was the case, you know, then you know, I would at least be able to basically put it all towards I'd put it right directly to student loan, pay off $5,000 in student loans, put $5,000 towards my student loans, because that's what needed to be done. So we are gonna have a little bit of damage, but that's about it. Now, do we not have, the closest one is an hour and 9 minutes that way to getting it, but we do have, I'm not going to take that there on that. I'm going to go and utilize that way. It's going to take an hour and 6 minutes. That's going to take an hour and 9, so we're going to follow that way. But I think it's going to be about time that I know I wanted to go and change things, but it's going to be an hour for me to travel there, and it's 5:30. Like I said, I usually try to go for about an hour, 2, 3. I usually try to go anywhere between an hour to 2 hours in the afternoon, nights, basically whenever I feel like it. But most of the time, I try to keep it roughly 9 to 1, at the minimum. That's the bare minimum that I go, because Saturday I have to get off at 1, but most of the time I go until 2 in the afternoon, in the evenings, most of the time. But unless I decide I want to keep going, I can. That's just a thing to remind me that, hey, I need to live stream, I need to do this, and I need to remember, okay, this is the time I need to get on. Mostly, and this is going to give you guys that rough estimate of when I do get on. But tonight, if you guys want to see for Call of Duty and Fortnite and things, I do that at night, where during the day I do a lot of Euro Truck, single player, American Truck, things along those lines, Final Fantasy, things that are relatively for single player and only meant for single player. Nothing more than that. And I usually talk a lot of politics if I'm playing Euro Truck. For it. Tomorrow, if I remember, it's supposed to be Final Fantasy 13. So if you want to see me play some Final Fantasy titles, tomorrow's going to be a great day for you guys to watch. We're going to try to get 13 finished. So Anyway, we will catch you guys later. Make sure you guys hit that follow. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe. And we will catch you guys later. Make sure you hit that bell notification too. It's all free to